You know what's going to be fun?
Today's stream, right?
Exactly, man. Learning how to connect a Storyblok with a React project, man.
Woohoo! Yeah. It's gonna be awesome. I mean,
It's
React is
gonna be
awesome.
cool.
Storyblock is awesome. It's gonna be massive and huge and amazing.
Now, the truth is that we will see how to easily connect a content management system with a React project, right? I mean, let's say that you are creating a brand new project using React or any React-based framework. I would say there are a couple nowadays in the community. Or probably even, I mean, if you don't know React or you don't use React, you are going to learn a little bit about React, but also you can reuse the same concept or the same ideas for other frameworks and programming languages. Because, well, we will see. I mean, there are some hints and some tools that we are going to use today to make the work easier, and you can see that you can interpolate. Does that word exists? Yeah, you can use you can use the same ideas and concepts on other frameworks and programming languages. So I feel that this stream is not only for React developers but also for other developers that are using other type of technology. So we welcome everyone here.
Yes, and we are very happy to have you here. And yeah, I think I see a message from Siddharth. But I mean, feel free to, as Facundo said, feel free to let us know where you're joining from.
Yes, please.
And probably we can start. Maybe like a
I
bit of,
realized one thing.
yeah.
We didn't say who we are.
Oh yeah.
Who are you?
All right. So my name is Chakit. I mean Chakit Arora. Not the J. I didn't plan to do it James Bond style, but my name is Chakit Arora, and I'm a developer relations engineer at Storyblok. And yeah, I mean I try to make things easy for developers and people out there. I mean, talking about my role, right? I try to enable developers, let's say, how to use Storyblok and how to get started with the headless world. And other than that, I write tech, I speak tech, I walk tech, and stuff like that. Now, who are you? Who are you?
That's amazing because you did all the job. My name is Facundo. I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I do exactly the same as Jackie just listed because I'm also part of the developer relations team at Storyblok. I have the fortune of working every day with Jackie. And yes, that's basically what we do. Developer relations engineers. We try to help the developers to implement Storyblok into their products, to help the developers to get the best from Storyblok, to solve their pain points, their issues, their use cases when they need to manage content, no matter which technology they are using. And that's one of the cool things that we want to showcase today. That today we are planning to use React, and we will show an example using React. But if you go to the official Twitch profile of Storyblok, you will see that we had streams in the past, and also you can go to our YouTube channel where we have videos from past streams, but other type of videos where you can learn about Storyblok, the features of the product, and not only that, see that you can use Storyblok with other frameworks and programming languages too.
Yeah, definitely.
Enough talking from my side.
Yeah, I was just saying one thing. Like it's good to be back on Code and Chill because I haven't done it like in a while. I remember doing one last year and it was super fun. And I'm assuming I know that this is also going to be super fun. So yeah,
It is. But I think that the people wants to see the magic,
yeah.
to watch us throwing magic.
Yes. Let's do that. Let's do that. Like I'll should I like just share my screen?
Yes.
Find the screen. Let me find the screen. All right. Do you see the screen? I see the screen. So yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. So this is. I mean, let's first take a look at what Storyblok is, how Storyblok looks like, and then like let's dive into a couple of things, and then see some code. All right, so this is the Storyblok website, storyblok.com. You can come over here. You can find a bunch of resources. For example, we have different hubs for different technologies and a couple of things like that. In this case, I have opened up React one, and you can see that we have a bunch of articles with React, how to work with React. How to like combine Storyblock and React, and like more advanced topics in that way. And then we also have a like a 5 minutes article, probably which you can see whenever you want to, because it just takes 5 minutes to install. Like I mean to combine Storyblock and React and get started with Storyblock and React. All right, so let's now move into the Storyblok app, which kind of looks like this. It is app.storyblok.com. You can even like if you are on the website, you can just hit on login, or if you want to try it for free, you can just like I mean click anywhere, and you're going to be taken to the sign up page in case if you don't have an account. It's a SaaS, so you just need to log in, and like pretty much the way any SaaS works, like you log in and create an account and things like that. And yeah, this is how the Storyblock space looks like. I mean, Storyblock app looks like.
So one disclaimer before continuing. All the things that we are going to see today, you don't have to pay for anything. I mean, this is all for free. Storyblok has a community plan that you are able to use for small projects. So all the things that we are going to display today, you can achieve them using the community plan. So no payment needed, let's say.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Absolutely right. Like whatever you see on my screen, and even personally, whatever I do is on the free plan. All right. This is the Storyblok app, which is app.storyblok.com, and what you see over here is a list of all my spaces. I mean, I know it's a bit messy, but like usually when you create an account, it won't be like this. You'll just have an empty space. I mean, an empty screen with a couple of things. You won't have this many cards, and it'll look more beautiful than this one. All right, so I mean, these cards which you see over here is called a space in Storyblok, and you can consider one space as one content repository. For this purpose, we will consider one space as one project. And like I mean, there can be multiple use cases. You can use one space for multiple projects. You can use multiple spaces for one project, and so on. So yeah, let's like I mean, let's just think of it as a content repository. And for this one, let's say that it is one space, or one of this card is just a project. Yeah, this is the place where you can search for it, sort for it, and a bunch of other things. What I'll do is I'll just go on adding a new space or creating a new space. And when you click on the topmost, like the top right button, which I just did, I did mention it, but I hope it was visible. This is the place from where you get to create a space. In this case, you get a couple of options. One is to create a new space from scratch, and the one where you can create a demo space. We'll look at a demo space later on if you get some time, but like let's create a new space from scratch. Let me write, I mean, you can just select it as a new space, and let me write React Twitch stream. Probably sounds like a good name to me. And like you can choose your region. Right now there are, I guess, 2 regions, but there are going to be 2 more. There is, I think, one is going to be Australia, and then other one is going to be Canada. But right now there are like Europe and US. So let's select Europe for this one, and I'll just create a new space. And what's happening behind the scenes is not a lot of things. It's creating a space for us, a couple of things. And like as Facundo said, things are free over here, so you can either continue with trial, or you can select a plan. So what I'll do is I'll maybe just select the community plan. So I'll just go over here and I'll select community plan. So everything is good to go for me. Before we jump onto the code, I'll just give you a little overview of how this looks, and then like we'll create, we'll use this itself, like how to get started with. I mean, the get started guide, which we see inside this particular get started tab. But before that, let's take a look at the. I mean, let's take a look at how the space looks and how to set up the components, because with any front-end framework, with any modern front-end framework, there are components, and in Storyblok as well, you create your components, map that to your front end, and like then send the data from retrieve the data from Storyblok to your front end, and yeah, that's how you render the components. And the best part is that you see that happening. I mean, you can see how your components look, and you can play around with that in real time. Facundo, do you want to add something over here?
No, you're doing great, man. You're doing great.
Awesome. All right then. Like let me just quickly take you to these 3 tabs before we try to do another. Before we jump into the code. The first thing is the dashboard. So dashboard shows you a couple of matrices. It shows you which plan you're on, number of stories. We'll see what a story is. Number of assets, number of blocks or components, users, what are the activities happening, traffic usage, and a bunch of other things. Right now it's empty, and you can see that we just created it a minute ago, so that's why it's empty. But we'll see later, like how it looks once we once we start doing a bunch of things. Then we have the content tab. So this is the place where you store your content. I mean, this is the place where you create folders. This is the place where you create entries, just like your Macs or Windows. Like you have a file system where you have folders, entries, and entries inside the folders and a bunch of other things. Right now we have one entry that is called home entry, and like this is the thing that we call as a story. So every entry you make inside Storyblok, everything you make over here is called a story. We are not we I mean we have time, right? So I'll just quickly let you know why we call it as a story. It's because we don't, like it's not always necessary to have a visual preview associated with it, right? There can be times when you just store the data, or there can be times when you want to retrieve the data maybe on another platform where there's no visual preview. So we call an entry as a story. So that's the story we saw in the dashboard. And yeah, these stories are made up of different blocks, different components. Let's see how the blocks they kind of look like. So this is the block library, and these are the 4 blocks that we have right now in our space. You create your own blocks. You can define your own schema of these blocks, and yeah, again, those blocks have to be like you need to create those blocks or those components in your front end, map those things, and yeah, we are good to go. So inside Storyblok, we have 3 different types of blocks or 3 different types of components. Let me just click on a new block to see those 3 different types. We'll create one in a bit. So yeah, the first one is a nestable block. So a nestable block is a block that like that can be. I mean that a nestable block can be. It's a block that can come inside other blocks, that can be put inside the other blocks or other components. So let's say, for example, a hero section or a feature or something like that, a block that can be used inside other blocks. So that's a nestable block. Then we have a content type block. So a content type block is something that is, that can act as a standalone story. Let's say, for example, a landing page, an article page, or something like that. Then we have a universal block, which can act as both, like a nestable block as well and a content type as well. Let's see what we got over here, like in this particular space. So you'll see that we have one content type block, which is page. And like this is what our story is made up of as well. If I go on to content, you'll see that the content type over here is page. So yeah, I mean, if you create any entries, if you create any stories, they need to be of content type, because like as I mentioned, it's a standalone story sort of thing. So inside block library, the first component that we have is page, and like if I open it up, you'll see the schema for that particular component, and this is the place from where you can like add different fields, and we have a bunch of different types of fields as well. So you can choose from those different types of fields. If I open this up, you'll see that there is a text field, text area, rich text, number, single option, link, multi-option, and a bunch of other things. This field, which we have right now, the field is called body field, but it is special field type, which is called blocks. And this is the field type that allows you to, like add the nestable components that we were talking about before inside this particular field. So yeah, that's about the page component. And if we talk about the other components, these components are nestable components or nestable blocks. So if I open up teaser, you'll see that this is the schema of teaser. There is a headline, which is of text type. If I open up a feature, you'll see that there is a name, which is again of text type. And if I open up grid, you'll see that it contains a column field. The field name is column, but the type is of block. So inside this particular field as well, you can add multiple nestable components. Let's see, let's see how these components are being used inside our home story. So if I go
actually, wanted to mention one thing now that we are there. Probably if you are seeing this and you are familiar with a framework like React, where we have a component-based approach, let's say, this is very similar. The page content type and the grid content type that Chakit already showed. As you can see, these fields of type blocks, what it basically means is that we are able to put other blocks inside of them. I mean, we have these content types, which are templates for content structures, let's say, and we have the nestable blocks, which are blocks that we can use inside these content type or stories, a concept that we will see in a couple of minutes. But basically, the idea is that we can create reusable content components or reusable content blocks, let's say, that we can inject in different parts of our pages and in different pages of our website, for example. But basically, when we mention the concept of block, is the same as a component in React, let's say, and we will see that it is going to be reflected on the front end that we are going to create with React, that you can create a block and you can create a React component that is the visual representation of that block, right? But we will see more later.
Yeah, awesome. That's right. Yeah, so let's see how our home story looks like. So like we'll see these components being used inside Storyblock, and then let's create a React application to see how it actually renders up and everything. So if I go inside the home story, you'll see that, I mean, firstly, we haven't connected. I mean, on the center of the screen, this is the visualizer, which we haven't connected yet. So that's why we don't see anything over there. It's just an introduction, or like it's just a start on how to connect your visualizer with any of your applications, be it any framework. And on the right hand side, you'll see that these are the like these are the components that we made over there, and they are being used over here. So on the top, I mean, again, the home story is made of page component, and inside the page component, as we saw, that there is one field which is body field, and inside the body field, you can see that we are adding like a bunch of other components. For example, teaser component, grid component. So since the body field is of type blocks, as Facundo mentioned, like that, this is the reason why we are able to add different nestable components or blocks inside this. Sorry. And yeah, you can see that this is how the teaser is being added. And if I open up grid, inside grid, you'll see that there is another field, which is columns field. And inside the columns field, there are like different feature blocks or feature components that are being added. So if we go on the teaser has just one field and it says hello world. Grid can add, I mean, inside the grid, you can add multiple components, which we already made over there. And like in this case, we have just added feature components, and inside the feature, we have these name fields, which we saw in the block library as well, and they are just being used over here. So this is like a very simple setup, just to like just to see how everything kind of works. And yeah, I mean, this is a very simple setup where you can see how everything works and play around with it to understand the initial setup and how everything kind of binds up. So yeah, that's most about it. What I'll do is, like I'll go to now get started thing, and we'll copy this. I mean, the space is created. You can follow these steps, which are shown over here itself. And like the second thing that we need to do is create. I mean, we can just use like we can just use this command. And yeah, I mean, let's see. Like I was about to explain what you see on the terminal, but since we're going to see the terminal, then there is no worries. But you can create projects using this particular command over here, using the CLI command over here, and like it's gonna you'll able to. I mean, it's gonna be directly linked up with this particular project. I mean, this project can be any project can be created, and like you can link it up with Storyblok. But in this case, we are going to be just using our. I mean, we are just going to be using the CLI command over here, which is stated, and everything is going to be created for us. All right, so let me find, or let me just open up a new window, which probably is very small, and boom, 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 boom. I think it's good. It's good. Yeah. All right, so let's just paste that command and let's see what happens. So it's a create demo sort of thing that we have made, and over here you can choose. Like as soon as you run your command, you see the beautiful logo over here of Storyblok, and then like you can choose. Your preferred framework. So it's going to be again creating a template, or like it's going to be creating a front end project for your framework as you have it inside Storyblok. With the components which are present over there when you create a new project. All right, so let's choose React in this case, and let's use Yarn itself instead of npm because I like Yarn. So and like let's choose the region Europe again, and let's call the project again. Like let's call it React Twitch. That's the right spelling, right? Yeah. And let's create it. That was quick. So now we have the project created, and I'll just open that up inside my Visual Studio. And this is the project that we have. what I'll do is, like we need to obviously install the libraries that we have. Let me just increase the font probably. Looks a bit bad, but yeah. All right, so let's just install the libraries that we have inside package.json. So I'll just hit yarn, and I think they should be installed in a bit. But let's now see the folder structure of how this particular application looks. So if we go inside the source folder, and if I go inside the index.js file, this is how the initial setup looks like. So the first thing happening over here is a Storyblok init, and like what we are doing is there is a library which is being installed, and we have these sort of SDKs present for every framework, most of the frameworks. And like we have a vanilla JavaScript sort of library present, and on top of that we have built multiple libraries for different frameworks, be it React, Vue, Nuxt, Astro, and a bunch of other frameworks. But in this case, the library is called Storyblok React, and we are importing two things inside this particular index.js file, and they are like Storyblok init function, and the second one is API plugin. So what we're doing in this case is this Storyblok init function is allowing us to initialize Storyblok, and you'll see that this is the this is the way you initialize it. Let's forget about the components for a bit, but this is the way you initialize Storyblok. So you have different you can pass different keys over here. So the first thing you see is access token. So this access token is something that you get from the space. So since we use this particular command, it already had this access token. But in case if you want to access the access tokens, or in case if you want to see the access tokens, you can go inside the settings, and there is going to be a tab for access tokens, and then you can grab this access token and paste it over there. So that's how the access token work, because you need to retrieve the content from that particular space. So you need to put in the access token of that particular space. Every space has different access tokens, and there can be different what's the term, access level. Like there can be
Access level.
yeah, there can be different access levels. For example, this is the preview access level, another one is public access level. So the preview one gives you the access to draft data as well as published data, but the public one gives you the access to published data. We'll see that in a bit. The second thing
I wanted to add one thing. Now that we are talking about the Storyblok React package, which is our React SDK, basically what is doing. I mean, the SDK is providing features and capabilities to developers to basically manage three focus areas related to Storyblok. One of them is, bringing the content from the Storyblok API, the content that you want to render on your website. The SDK is providing you tools to bring the content from the Storyblok API. The second focus area is setting up the real-time visual preview inside Storyblok, something that we will see later, but basically giving the possibility to the users that are creating the content to see how the content that they are creating is going to look like while they are creating that content. And the third focus area is the possibility of rendering dynamic content, no matter which components you are or which blocks you are using inside Storyblok, rendering the proper content and the proper components in the front end of your application. We will see each one of these focus areas later, but those are the three main focus areas that the different Storyblok SDKs try to cover. Let's say, in this case, we are using the React SDK, but Storyblok offers different SDKs for different frameworks and programming languages. We can probably share our technology hub, let's say, in the chat, where we have the list of SDKs that we are supporting. I will do that later. No, please continue, Chakit. I will do that later.
All right. So yeah, as Facundo said, we have a couple of things that these SDK enables us for us. So yeah, let's now see how things are working, and the structure is almost similar in the other SDKs as well. So in case if you're trying any other framework or any other SDK, it's going to be mostly the same. All right, so in this case, we are initializing Storyblok using the access token. The other thing is we are using this API plugin. This allows us to communicate with the Storyblok API. Let's say you want to fetch the data from Storyblok. Not let's say, because you are supposed to fetch the data from Storyblok's API, Storyblok APIs, and where once you're fetching the data, you need a way to fetch the data. You can definitely use something by yourself, maybe fetch API or maybe access or something like that. But like we have that inside our SDK itself. Let me just quickly show you. If I go in the home story, this is the place from where you can like access your draft JSON or publish JSON, and this is how you're going to get the data on the front end. So this is something, I mean, obviously you can fetch it using this particular URL, but like we have the SDK present, so you can just say dot get storyblok dot get slash the slug, and the slug, and then you're just going to get the complete story. Then we have components over here. So these components, like as Facundo was also mentioning, that it also allows you to dynamically render the components no matter what the order of the components is. So this is the place from where we are registering the components that we have. And you can see that these are all the components that we have inside Storyblok, and that we also have inside this components folder. So we'll take a look at how these components look, but just wanted to mention that this is the place. This is the place where you register the components, so that like one of our components knows how to render these components, or the component knows. It allows to, what do we say? It allows the components to allow the component that we have to dynamically render these components which you register over here. So yeah, this is how we initialize it, and we have imported all of these. But before going to that, let's just before going to the components, let's also see the app.js file and how it looks. So yeah, this is the app.js file, and again, we are importing a couple of things from Storyblok React library. The first thing is use Storyblok. So this is the thing. This is the thing where which allows you to fetch the data in this case, as well as as well as enables the bridge that Facundo was talking about. Where you can do the real time edits in your website. So this is the hook that allows you to. This is the hook that allows or enables the JavaScript bridge, the Storyblok JavaScript bridge that we have, that allows you to do the edits in real time. So yeah. And then we have the Storyblok component, which is again the component I was talking about, where you can render the components, or using this component, you can render all of the components no matter what the order is. So let's see. This is a very small file, so let's see how it looks like. The first thing we are doing over here is we are checking the slug from the window itself. Facundo, this is the logic I was talking about before. I think we have it over here with the CLI as well. So stories, it's gonna work. Yeah. All right.
Let's see.
Yeah. So yeah, what we are doing over here is we are saying that if the path is slash, then have the home story. Otherwise, just get the slug. So what we are doing is we are just getting the slug from the URL from the URL box, just like this, window.location.path name. And then what we are doing is we are we have a variable that is not we have a constant that is called story. And what we are doing is we are using use Storyblok that we are importing again from Storyblok React. We are passing the slug. So in this case, the home slug is going to be passed because we are going to be visiting localhost slash nothing. And the version we are loading, you can pass different parameters over here. So the first, or the only thing that we're doing over here is that we are loading the draft version of the data. And if there is something, then we are if there is nothing, then we are just showing loading. And if there is something, then we are returning the Storyblok component with one prop that says, in that particular prop, we are passing the content of story. So let me just let me just again show it to you. So this is how you get the data in this case. So if there is a story present, you get this story variable like this, and then you're passing this content inside the Storyblok component. Now what happens is this component is going to be rendering the dynamic component. So whichever component is there, it is going to see that this is the component, so load that component and things like that, because in the response you get which component it is and what data is present inside that. So for example, you can say that this is the headline present inside the component teaser, and so on. So that's how it renders. But now let's see how our components are structured. So the first component in this case, which which is going to be passed, is the page component, because the complete story is made from the page content type. So let's see how the page component looks. And this is how the page component looks. So again, we are importing a couple of things from Storyblok React library, the SDK that we have. The first thing we are importing over here is Storyblok component, and the other thing is we are that we are importing is Storyblok editable. and we are using the first thing that we are using is Storyblok editable, not Storyblok component. So you see that. So this Storyblok editable, this is the function which you need to put on top of your component. What this does is it allows your components to be, it allows your component to be edited. This allows your components, to show a dotted line around them, and you can click on those components, and this makes your components interactive, let's say. So
Actually, I think that it will be clearer when we properly load the website inside the Storyblok visual editor. I feel that it will be.
Yes. So you still want me to quickly show this, right? And then we can just run it.
No, sure. I was just mentioning that. Actually, no, probably I wanted to add some wrap up things about what we already saw, but what Jackie was showing is how easy it is to actually connect Storyblok to a React project and bring in all the content related to your website from the Storyblok API. What we were seeing before about the use of Storyblok React hook, which is, it's a hook that is provided by the Storyblok SDK, the React SDK. This hook uses Storyblok is basically doing or taking care of two of the main areas or focus areas that we mentioned before. One is bringing the content connecting to the Storyblok API, and the other one is setting up the connection with the Storyblok real-time visual editor. We will see that in a minute, but using that hook, we are basically saying, hey, Storyblok, give me all the content related to the story or the page that has this slug or this URL. And this hook is bringing all the content related to that page and setting up the connection between the Storyblok visual editor and your website to create this real-time preview that we will see in a minute. Because one thing that I wanted to mention or to emphasize is that Storyblok creates this real-time preview is using your real website. It's not Storyblok creating a preview of the content. It's Storyblok connecting to your real website and using the logic of your front end to render the content that is being created by the users inside Storyblok. So that's what's going to happen when you use the use Storyblok React hook. On the other hand, the Storyblok component that we have here is taking care of the third focus area that we mentioned before, which is rendering the proper React component, in this case, that is tied to the content block that you created inside Storyblok based on what is coming from the Storyblok API, which is basically the JSON structure that Chakit showed before. Whenever you connect to the Storyblok API, you are retrieving all the content related to one particular story, let's say, or one particular page. That all the content is coming from the Storyblok API into a JSON structure with different properties that we will go through them later. But yeah, basically this is Storyblok component. What it's doing is identifying which components are coming from the Storyblok API based on the content that you created for your page, and which React components you should render for them. Which are the visual representation of those components. But yeah, sorry interrupting, Chakit.
No worries. We are talking important stuff, so yeah, it's good. All right, so I think we are seeing a lot of stuff, but we are not still seeing the actual website. But I'll quickly move on to that. But yeah, just wanted to show you that this is how the components they kind of look like. In this component, we are we're getting the block property that we pass from the, that we pass inside the Storyblok component, and then we are extracting the properties of our block using this particular block. Using this block property. So in this case, you can see that since inside the page component we had multiple blocks, then we are accessing block.body, which which was our field's name. So the field's name was body, and since that was again dynamic components, because you wouldn't know where you're placing bunch of things, then we are doing the same sort of thing. We are mapping through those components, and then we are using Storyblok component to render those components. So that's how this particular page structure is working. Let's move on to a simple one, because we need to just see how the how to structure the components. So if I go inside the teaser component, you'll see that we are again importing Storyblok editable, which is sitting on the top, and there was just one property that we had inside our teaser component, that was headline. So we are just extracting that and we are just showing that over here. So block.headline. And yeah, I mean, other two components are something similar. So probably we can skip that and let's run the application. Let's go with yarn start.
Let's see the magic happening.
Yes. Oh, it opened up a window. Let's go over here and let's go to localhost. And yeah, this is how our website looks right now. I mean, this is how we have structured it. And the best part, like where I wanted to be at since the beginning, is that you can see this inside the visual editor itself, and you can edit these things inside the visual editor. So this is how you have, or this is how we have structured our components. Like the first thing is teaser, the other thing is grid. Inside the grid, we have these three features, and that's how it is presented over here. But let's see how to get that inside this particular visual editor. The first thing is you can just click over here to change the URL. I'll go inside the settings, the same thing. The thing is, inside Storyblok, you cannot use HTTP, so we'll just create a quick proxy. I think my proxy is already running, so but just to show you, I'll do the proxy again. Just give me a second. So like, I mean, you can use anything to proxy it, but you can probably follow the command that I am using. Let me just close the other one.
Yeah, actually, when you create a new space, if you see the default page that is being displayed inside the visual editor, that is pointing you to different ways of setting up a local HTTPS proxy for you to make it work. And not only that, I mean, not only inside the visual editor in the default page that you see when you edit it for the first time, but also in the CLI. If you see here the green links, if you see the number 2, or the second point, let's say, where it says how to configure that for Mac OS or for Windows. Basically, we're doing this because Storyblok kind of force you to use a secure connection, which is, I mean, it's a best practice, let's say, for your website too. And as we are trying to make it work inside Storyblok, considering that the Storyblok visual editor is an iframe, we have to set this HTTPS proxy to make your website work with an HTTPS connection.
Yeah. So in this case, we are proxying 3010 to the one that we have. So yeah, I mean, that's the only command that I had to run, and everything should be ready for us. And now if I go inside this, I'll just need to change quickly this to localhost 3010, and we should be good to go. Let me just save this, and if we go inside the home story, we won't see anything because we see it. Sorry, we see it. I thought we need to just configure anything, but yeah, we see it. You can see that since we are going onto the home slug, and since we have already configured that whichever slug you visit, you just get to see that particular data. Like, since we are going onto the home slug, you'll see that this is how now our website is just loaded inside the visual editor. And if I hover here and there, you'll see that these are the dotted lines that are coming in, which are coming in from the Storyblok editable function that I was mentioning before. So this allows you to see those dotted lines, and this allows you to, like, should I do the magic? Should we have drum rolls or something like that?
The drum roll.
Yeah. So if I click anywhere, so let's say if I click over here, the schema of that component is going to open up in real time, and I can just do these sort of things, and I'll see the changes in real time. So let's say React Twitch, and we can see, like, as soon as we are changing the things over here, the preview of that particular thing or preview of that component also changes in real time. Right now, nothing is happening on your production, nothing is happening on your any other environment. This is just happening in this visual editor. Even if I go over here, if I refresh this, you'll see that it's still the same. But as soon as I hit save, that goes to our draft version. And since we are retrieving the draft version, if I now refresh this, you'll see that the content is changed. And similarly, if I if I do a bunch of other things, let's say we switch the order of the grid, and this is where like the Storyblok component that we were looking at, which renders the components dynamically, comes into play. Even if I'm switching the components order, even if I'm in here, and if I switch, let's say, the features order and stuff like that, these things are going to change in real time, and we can see the changes happening again in real time. So just to summarize it, like how this flow is working, you create your own components. So you define the schema inside Storyblok. So you say that I need this component. Let's say in this case, I need a teaser component. That component should have these many fields, and then you map those fields inside your front end project. In this case, React. So you create those components, you map those fields, something like this, and you like if I say text lines, I mean if I remove text line center, it's gonna change. Like I mean, let's maybe do it and see how that looks. But like you're in complete control of how everything looks like. So um, yeah, you can say that it comes like onto the complete left, which doesn't look good, but like just to show you that this is how like everything is in your control. You define how they should be styled, how your components are going to look, which fields your components going to have. And yeah, again, I mean the initialization is easy. You create your components, you initialize it in this way, you extract the data just in this way. I mean, you use Storyblok hook. In this case, you extract the data, and then you just need to create. I mean, in this case, if I create new components, they'll just be mapped. Like I just need to create a component inside Storyblok, create a component over here, and I need to use these, like the Storyblok editable over the component, and I need to register that component inside this place, inside the Storyblok init function, and then it's going to be rendered in real time. And I mean, it is going to be when I click anywhere, it's going to be just changed in real time. So yeah, that's how easy it is to connect it with Storyblok. And yeah, again, the stylings, everything is completely in your hand, your components, so you can just do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, actually, one cool thing that you mentioned, Jacket, is exactly that we are providing we will have the flexibility of defining the style and other aspects from the development side, or we can give that power to the users too if we want, based on the logic that we are managing. Remember that what we are defining in Storyblok at the end of the day is the JSON structures and the properties of those structures that we are going to use in the front end of our application. If we go to this example, I mean, you can see that we have the type of components. I mean, the component, as you can see on the line 42, it's a component of type teaser that has a property called headline that has a value react to each. If we go to the front end of the application, I mean, the React project, you will see that when we go to the teaser component, we are using the headline property that is coming from the block, which is a JSON structure that is coming from the Storyblok API. Not only that, if you go to the index file, Jacket, that you were showing before, here we are, these components list that we are defining on line 16 is basically what the Storyblok component, the dynamic Storyblok component, is going to use to link or to know which component from or which block from Storyblok is linked to which visual representation or React component in the front end of our application. In this case, as you can see, when a component of type teaser is coming from the Storyblok API, teaser in lowercase, because that's how it's coming from the JSON structure that we were seeing before. If we receive a block of type teaser, we are going to render a teaser React component. And this is what we are linking here. Of course, you can create your blocks in Storyblok and your components in the front end of your application, and you can use the properties in different ways. I mean, it's not only that the properties are of type text and you are going to use the text that is coming from the Storyblok API. Actually, if you see the grid component has a list of other components. So if we go here, you will see that we are using the columns field from the grid block that is coming from Storyblok to render all the components that are inside this columns field. That if we go to the Storyblok visual editor, we will see that we have a grid on our page, and the grid has a list of other blocks that is called columns. I mean, the property is called columns, and we have a list of other blocks. All these blocks are of type feature, but in another case, we can add a block of other type if we want, or we can set, I mean, we have the flexibility of setting that content structure in the way that it fits better for our project.
That's right.
Yes, sorry, you wanted to say something else?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. I mean, you explained it pretty well. I just wanted to know, like, should we create a component? I mean, looking at the time.
I was going to say that. I think that if we create a component from scratch, it would be super visible for the developers that are watching us. It would be super clear how we should proceed at the moment of creating the content structures that we are going to use in our project and the visual presentation for them. So if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, let's do that. So like I was just looking. I mean, just like 5 minutes before the stream started, I saw a Tailwind component just to make it look organized. But I mean, still, it's not like a very beautiful component. But yeah, let's just get started with it. So probably I'll just install Tailwind first. Let me just copy a bunch of commands so that everything is good. Or maybe I'll just let me just do this. It says Tailwind CSS. I'm spelling it right? Because yeah, looks like it is installed. Probably. And then let's also have the Tailwind file, which is not going to be very useful, but let's just have it. Then maybe let's go to the config file. I don't usually do this, but since they say, just to make it good. And then let's go to the index.css to remove this, and maybe let's have this. And sorry for the, yeah. So I think we're good to, I think we are good to go, but I'm not sure. We'll see if we will see if it all works when we run the project again. So yeah, we have installed Tailwind. That's what I assume. And let's now let's go into the block library to create a new block, which let's say we call as hero section. It is going to be a nestable block. Well, there are a couple of fields that can be there, but instead of making all of the fields, I'll just have two fields. One is, let's say, title, and the other one is going to be an image. So you can see that, I mean, the default over here is selected as text, so I didn't change anything. And now for the image, I need to change it to a type asset. So I'll go select type asset, and I'll say that this field should just contain images. So this is how the schema of our very simple hero component looks like in this case. And yeah, you can create again a bunch of fields with a bunch of different types. We'll like if you get some time, we'll see a demo space as well to see how everything kind of looks like. And yeah, let's save it. Now what we need to do is, I mean, even if I if I go over here and if I add any component, I mean, if we add our new hero section, if I do this, nothing is going to work. I mean, let's upload an asset as well, probably just to have.
Just to add the tip, but this is the Storyblok Digital Asset Manager, which is included in the platform. You can upload static assets like images, videos, PDF files, documents, etc. And the content the static assets that you are uploading to Storyblok, you can use it when creating content, which is what is Chakit doing right now.
Yes. And yeah, I mean, we have created this, but you can see that, nothing is visible over here because, again, the front end doesn't know how to render that. So what we need to do is we need to create a new component that I'm going to call hero section. And I'm going to paste a component, but I'll need to change a bunch of things over here. So probably we don't need this image. I mean, I know this is, this is a bit messy, but we are getting there. We're getting there. Instead of this, let's have hero section, probably something like this. I think I'm doing something wrong. No, all good. Sorry. And we are good. And we need to pass the block as well as we were passing into the other things. And we also need to have, let me just go over here. We also need to have the Storyblok editable. We also need to have Storyblok editable on the top of the component to make it. Yeah. And probably this. And if I have this, now we have the Storyblok editable component. And I think this is the topmost div. Let me just see that. Yes, that is the topmost div. So what I'll do is on the topmost div, I'll just say, I did something bad, sorry. On the topmost div, I just need to have Storyblok editable function. So I'll just copy it from somewhere else and just have it over here. So now we have the Storyblok editable on the top. And what I'm going to do is, I think I should minimize it a bit. But yeah, what I'm going to do is let's keep the buttons as it is. Let's remove this paragraph, and let's have this heading as, like, I mean, now is the time when we are like using the fields that we have inside our inside our components. So let's say this is block dot, did I say title or headline over there?
I think it was title.
Yeah. So block dot
Yes.
title, and then like this is the image field. So since we have the image as well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say block dot image dot file name, and the reason to call it as a file name is, let me go to the draft JSON again. I know I'm being quick, but since we don't have a lot of time, that's why I'm being quick. But if I go over here inside the hero section, you'll see that like this is the hero section. Where did it go? Yeah, this is the hero section. It has a title, and then it has an image, and inside the image we have this image that we uploaded, and this is how you access the image from Storyblok. So that's why image.filename, and if I hit save, that's what I did. We'll still not see
You
anything.
can probably also remove the two buttons that are at the bottom of the.
All right,
Yeah.
let's do that. Let's just.
I mean, that div is
Yeah.
unused, so there we go.
So now we have a very clean component in place, and we also need to, like, inside our index.js file, we also need to register this. So I'll just need to have it like this, and I'll say, what did I do? Sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'll need to just say hero section, and we have imported the hero section, and now like this is what Facundo was even talking about. I mean, this is the hero section. I mean, hero underscore section that is coming from the Storyblok API, and in that case, we are loading hero section. So now if I hit save, I see an error which I don't know why.
Mhm.
All right, we didn't finish the.
Because it's exporting the app at the bottom.
Yeah.
There we go.
Here we go.
We have a.
Let's see how it looks.
We have a in the audience. We have someone helping us.
Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you so. Oh, I know this person.
I know that guy. I know that guy.
Yeah. Let's run the project again. Just to see. And let me reload this. Oh yeah. So now our component, now our hero section is working, and this is how the hero
There
section.
we go.
And if I go in this case, like if I refresh this, you'll see that this is how our hero section is. Let me just have the hero section again. Let's delete it first. That's how we do it. And if I add the hero section now, we'll see it. We'll see that being added in real time. Right now there is no image. That's why it says no image. But let's give it a title, hero section, and that is also going to be visible in real time. And if I select an image, that is also going to be visible in real time. So yeah, that's how easily you create a new
This is what the editors would see when creating the content, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, what we just saw is from the moment where we define that we need a new content structure to creating the block type in Storyblok, to creating the visual representation of that block in our React project, and enabling the users to use this new type of block in the pages that they are creating. So let's say the full workflow, to say that in some way.
Yeah. And I'm sure that you're going to be creating more beautiful components than me in this case, so don't worry about the stylings.
No, but this is great. This is great. I mean, from my point of view, we were able to cover a lot of things. I mean, from understanding Storyblok to creating the content structures to creating the visual representation for them using React and our React SDK for Storyblok, setting up the real-time editing experience inside the Storyblok visual editor. And we actually saw how to create a brand new component and the visual representation for that component. I mean, we learned a lot. And right on time, because we have 1 minute left, man. So, I mean, this is really, really accurate.
And we didn't plan it, just so that everyone knows that, like we are.
No, for sure. And actually this is, as we had 1 hour, and this is the 101 session, we encourage you to go to the Storyblok website, take a look at the links that we shared to the Kickstart page that we have with the different tutorials, the different code samples, articles, SDKs that we have for the different frameworks. In the case of React, you will be able to find a lot of content related to React itself and React-based frameworks like Next.js, Gatsby, Remix. We have tutorials to create multi-language websites, to create more complex scenarios. And actually, that's what we encourage you to do, right? I mean, you just saw how to kick off a brand new project using Storyblok and React. Now you are able, or you have the tools to start playing with the Storyblok, learn more, experiment. And of course, we, the developer relations engineers at Storyblok, are here to help you. So any comment that you have, any question or feedback, feel free to contact us, that we will help you with your projects.
You said
yeah, I don't know, Jackie, do you want to add anything else? Because
I was saying you said everything. Yeah, I mean, that's.
I feel that this was a great success. I mean, this session started from scratch. Now we have a beautiful website with a beautiful hero section with the style and everything. So I hope that the people on the other side is happy with what they saw. So yeah, I feel that we can wrap up this session for today. This Code and Chill number 8 session that we had here, learning React and Storyblok. Yeah, I mean, thank you very much, Chakit, for all of what you showed today.
Thank you so much to you as well, because you explained it very well, and thanks everyone for joining. Like it was really.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you everyone for joining. I encourage you to yes, to follow us on Twitch, to follow us on Twitter too, or X, however you call it, because we will have more Code and Chill sessions. Actually, we will have one next Monday related to a kind of React related framework, Hydrogen. Have you used Hydrogen, Chakit, before?
Once I was playing with Shopify once, and I saw it, and my mind was.
There you go. So if you want to learn more about Hydrogen, I will learn more too, because I'm not fully familiar with Hydrogen, but we will have a session next Monday, the same time here. I think it's the same time, right? Or it's 1 hour later. I don't remember now, but I mean, you can scan this QR code. You can follow us on Twitch. You can follow us on Twitter or X to keep you updated about the sessions. I see a familiar face on that banner, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was saying this. Look at the people presenting the next Monday.
I mean, a couple, but one of them looks very similar to a guy that is presenting today, right? So, so yeah. I mean, if you want to have fun with us, follow us. Follow us on Twitch, on Twitter, X, on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram too. I mean, all the social networks, we're everywhere. Yeah. So yeah, again, thank you very much for joining. Thank you for your time. Hope you had fun. Hope you had learned something new, and see you soon.
Yes, thank you so much for joining. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a good day.
Bye. Bye-bye.